several times on Building 7. So that building got reported being down 26 minutes before it actually fell. And you can't...
Totally normal.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago, I was talking about the Salomon...
There's a woman on TV talking, on BBC, talking about...
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, talking about how the building is already down, is already collapsed, and it's right behind her.
Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
See, behind me, the Trade Center appears to be...
Let me just say...
26 minutes later, the building collapsed. What do you think?
Well, first of all,
is?
how dare you for noticing?
Lying is not something that was invented at any specific point in time. It's believed to have emerged naturally with the development of language and complex social interactions. As humans evolved, the ability to deceive became a tool for manipulation and gaining advantages in social situations. A poll taken in the U.S. according to the year 1958, about 73% trusted the government, which by 2024 dropped below a staggering 30%. This massive drop was created by polarization, perceived corruption, inefficiency, and dissatisfaction with policies from healthcare to foreign affairs. Now let's look at the topic of the UFO phenomena. About 60 to 70% of Americans think the government knows more about aerial phenomena than it admits. Less than 35% trust official statements on UAPs. I now present you footage of some of the most disturbing lies captured on camera.
The United States Air Force, in discharging its responsibility for the aerospace defense of the nation, is called upon to investigate reports of unidentified flying objects. 2 Air Force officers have over the years been very closely associated with this activity. Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Tacker was formerly the chief spokesman for the Air Force on the matter, and Major Hector Quintanilla is now the chief of Project Blue Book. Major Quintanilla, what are the objectives of Project Blue Book?
The objectives of the program are twofold. They're the same as they have been since 1953 when the regulations were written. First of all, to try to determine if the UFO phenomena presents a threat to the security of the United States. And second, to determine if the UFO phenomena exhibits any technological advances which could be turned into new such development.
What's the record so far?
To date, we have over 10,000 cases at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, of which 646 of these remain unidentified. That's not to say that we could not have identified more cases if we had gotten to the observer quickly and checked the local activity.
The Air Force has been accused from time to time of hiding information about UFO. What do you have to say to that kind of thing?
Those charges are absolutely untrue. Actually, the United States Air Force releases statistics on the UFO phenomena through the Department of Defense press desk periodically, and we've always honored accredited media when they want to investigate a given specific sighting.
There's nothing to hide.
There's nothing to hide at all.
Is there anything in the files, either classified or unclassified, that would indicate that there may be extraterrestrial visitors over here?
First of all, the project is completely unclassified. And there's nothing in the records which would indicate that we have been visited by any advanced civilization.
How does the Air Force look upon people who make reports of UFO? Do they look on them as qualified observers?
Yes, they do look on them as qualified observers. Actually, most people who report a UFO sighting are patriotic citizens who have been mystified by something that they've seen, and through a patriotic sense, report it to the local law enforcement officials or to the United States Air Force Base near them.
What would you consider as a person qualified to interpret what he sees?
Well, I consider astronomers genuinely expert in their field. First of all, they have a tremendous advantage over the other physical scientists And that is that they have powerful telescopes and photographic equipment to confirm their interpretation.
Do astronomical laboratories make any contribution to the UFO program?
In a negative way they do, because I've never received a UFO report from an observatory.
Not a one.
Not a single one.
Well, how about the tracking and detection facilities that the Air Force itself has? How does this fit with the program?
Well, actually, to begin with, the United States Air Force is charged by an act of Congress with the air defense of the United States. And the North American Air Defense Command and the Air Defense Command have space tracking facilities which are constantly on the alert 24 hours a day. We're interested in anything that flies in our atmosphere.
Well, how about UFO reports in other countries? How are they handled?
UFOs actually occur worldwide. However, the United States is the only country in the world that places as much emphasis on the phenomenon. Other countries place a burden of proof on the observer and not on the Air Force.
And that would make your job a lot easier if they did that here.
Yes, it would.
Thank you, Colonel Tucker, Major Puentanella. I would like to close by reading a very brief excerpt from the report of the Air Force's Scientific Advisory Board, which they made recently upon completing a detailed review of the subject of UFO. This is a statement. The committee concluded that in the 19 years since the first UFO was sighted, there has been no evidence that unidentified flying objects are a threat to our national security.
Okay,
I'm not trying to sell it.
I want to hear your thesis.
I'm not trying to sell a book. I'm not trying to promote a lecture. This is based on what I've come across after intense research in the last year. And I have found out that the government has retrieved between 10 and 15 actual flying saucers, 3 of which have been in perfect condition, 1 of which they tried to fly. They have between 30 and 50 alien bodies in cryogenic storage. We even have the name of the person whose job it is to show these bodies to the heads of state and the people who are authorized to see them. They represent at least 5 different civilizations.
Okay, you mentioned the saucers and the bodies. Now, what kind of proof do you have that is true? How do you know that?
Well, let me take a look. Let me read to you first what the Air Force says about the bodies. First of all, I'm going to read from the Introductory Space Science, Volume 2, Department of Physics, United States Air Force. This is Chapter 13, Unidentified Flying Objects. Now, this is what the Air Force has the students at the Air Force Academy read. And it says, the most commonly described alien is about 3.5 feet tall, has a round head, arms reaching to or below his knees, and is wearing a silvery spacesuit or coveralls.
It blew me away.
Shocked when he first discovered what it was he would be working on.
I got out of the bus. I was told to walk directly through the hangar, and immediately, even before entering the hangar, you can see the edge of a disc. This is your classic flying saucer, 2 inverted pie plates, if you wish, with a segmented larger area dome on top. Within minutes of that, I finally realized that this had nothing to do with something the government was producing. And that was quite shocking because everything inside was small. This is a full-size craft, 30, 35 feet in diameter, maybe 40. But you're looking at seats that are, 18 inches off the ground, obviously made, for something smaller. It certainly wasn't made for children to play in.
Lazar says there were 9 spaceships in all, and he claims to have seen one fly.
It began to lift off the ground almost silently. There was a hiss sound, like a corona discharge if you hear around high voltage systems, accompanied by a faint, it probably would have been brighter at night, a faint blue glow around the bottom. As the craft approached about 30 feet, 20 feet, something like that off the ground, that corona discharge disappeared. The sound stopped and the craft stood there silently and slowly drifted over to the left and then to the right.
The government denies they're testing alien craft at S4. Lazar no longer works there and nowadays spends his time working on one of his hobbies, jet car racing. He alleges that after he went public, security officers at the base threatened his life. He also says that his employment and military service records have disappeared. Despite repeated requests, the government can't find them. The subcontractor who hired him for the job at S4 refuses to comment. But a few clues support Lazar's contention that he is a scientist and that he has worked for the government. This W-2 form indicates that he had been employed by the Department of Naval Intelligence. Before his stint at S4, Lazar claims to have worked at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. Los Alamos officials can't find any record of him, but his name does appear in a laboratory phone book from that time.
Stuff Greer says is so crazy, and he's like a guy who he's really easy to dismiss.
See, I've got that printout papers there for you.
Which ones?
It should be below the Ransone stuff.
These.
Yeah, if you want to pull that up.
But, like, I mean, he's been on this stuff for so long.
He has, and he's never produced anything of actual worth. There you go. There's a good one. I thought you might appreciate that. May not be something you want to put.
Emily and Stephen Greer, Haifa, Israel. Emily Kramer and Stephen Greer were married Saturday at Baha'i World Center. The bride is the daughter of Miss Douglas Kramer of Palm Beach, Florida, and the late Dr. Cromler. She graduated from the University of Pennsylvania and received a master's degree in occupational therapy from Boston University. She was employed by the Peace Corps in Barbados. The bridegroom is the son of Mr. and Mrs. James Greer of 1201 Princeton Avenue. He attended the Appalachian State University and is employed in the Information Processing Department at Baha'i World Center. After a trip through Israel, the couple will live in Haifa and work at the Baha'i World Center.
Yep. That's the original marriage notice. Baha'i was regarded as an intelligence gathering operation for Mossad.
And Stephen Greer worked for these people.
And he worked for them. He started with...
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Back to law school, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only need 123 credits, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School.
Unfortunately for the human race, lying is more common now by an average of 20 to 50% in 2025 than it was from 1950, based on many different variables. In 1950, possibly lower rates of documented deception were due to limited tech and stronger social integrity. In 2025, the higher percentage of deceit is due to digital anonymity, misinformation, and a reading critical comprehension drop of 10 to 20% from fewer adults having the ability to analyze dense texts or identify bias. This combined with a sustained focus drop of 30 to 50% in the ability to read uninterrupted for 30 or more minutes, which has been linked to digital distractions. I now leave you with one of the largest lies in U.S. history we're currently facing.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI. That's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
Elon Musk accused the President of the United States of hiding the Epstein files because he is in them.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to.